groundbreaking work in many areas of philosophy.
Sure, but he thinks democracy is rooted in rational discourse.
You disagree?
Have you taken a look at our democracy lately, Ken?
Habermas and democracy, next time on Philosophy Talk.
Listen to Philosophy Talk every Tuesday at noon on KSJE 90.9 FM, Farmington. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, which is officially baby-friendly. This evidence-based initiative is designed to support mother-baby bonding and optimal infant feeding practices by upholding the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. San Juan Regional Medical Center, officially baby-friendly, and serving the Four Corners since 1910. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. "11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday morning, December 2nd. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Micklin, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM here in San Juan County. We are at 103.3 FM in the Durango, Colorado area, and we are everywhere streaming on our website at ksje.com. Special good morning also to the viewers who are watching our visual radio program this morning. We're streaming live to the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. We're glad you're with us this morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to you as well. Coming up, a couple of topics this morning, and we hope you'll stay tuned because in just a few moments I'll be talking about the Memorial for the Unclaimed. It's the first of its kind here in Farmington and San Juan County. It's planned for next week, a day centered on the dignity of all human beings, and it is a service for the homeless, for folks who have passed away here in San Juan County without any family or relatives to reach out to. The Memorial for the Unclaimed. We'll be talking about it this morning right here on KSJE and let you know when it's happening and how you can become involved as well. Then in the second part of the program today, we'll be talking with members of Compassionate Friends here in San Juan County. They are having their annual event, and Compassionate Friends, as you know, is a support group for people who have lost a child, and they are having their annual remembrance coming up next week. We'll talk more about that in the next few moments right here, beginning at 8:30 on KSJE. And of course, again, for all these programs, you can listen over the air, or you can watch us on Facebook or YouTube. Then, of course, we'll check in with Lewis Campbell from Synergy Computer Systems. He is talking technology with me later on at 8:50 a.m. right here on KSJE, so stay tuned for that. Mick Hess will take us roving with the arts at 9:06 this morning. Mick has some great arts news. Of course, it's holiday time. Lots of holiday arts news going on, events and things that are happening. Join Mick for Roving with the Arts at 9:06 right here on KSJE. And, of course, you know we are on Facebook and YouTube, but did you know you can also follow KSJE on Twitter and connect with us on Instagram as well? Well, you can, and we hope that you will do that as well. The weather forecast, it is a partly sunny day today and tomorrow with a high of 46 degrees Monday and Tuesday. Overnight lows in the 20s before the next weather system arrives on Wednesday with a chance of rain and snow showers on Wednesday in the forecast, the high 47 and the low Wednesday night 36, more maybe another shower or two on Thursday with a high of 45 before partly cloudy skies again on Friday with a high of 47 and a low of 28 degrees. And, of course, we always tell you that visual radio can take you places. This morning we'll take you to Ski Santa Fe, where the slopes are open, the chairlifts are going, and the skiers should be filling those slopes very, very shortly. A beautiful bluebird sunny day in Ski Santa Fe, and, of course, a lot of the other regional ski areas are open now as well from our snowfall from the last several days. So just a view of one of them in the region. That's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Joining me here in our visual radio studio to talk a little bit about the first event of its kind coming up next week here in Farmington, Reverend Megan Cullip is here from First Presbyterian Church of Farmington. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here because, as I mentioned, I can't remember an event like this ever happening in Farmington, and I've been here 30 years because I'm old. But
hair's not different, though.
No, hair has not changed. A little grayer, perhaps. But this is something that you have come up with and presented to the community, and it's really a community thing that I wanted to ask you a little bit about, and it's a memorial for the Unclaimed.
Yes.
And so explain what that means to us.
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, the title's a little dramatic, but it's the best way to encompass all of the different populations that we're trying to memorialize. So the idea of it is that we will be holding a community-wide memorial service for folks who died either without homes or without any next of kin.
Okay.
So in the most sort of stripped down, almost brutal senses, their remains were unclaimed. And
right.
So,
which is what happens.
Which is exactly what happens.
If you die and there's no one
and there's nobody around.
Yeah.
So the county, the technical county classification is indigent, but if you break that down, that pretty much means without homes or without next of kin, and the county becomes responsible for those remains.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they are taking care of them, and then you have then gone to the county, I guess, to collect or know the number and the names of the people that fit this category, right? And the number, how many then from this year?
So far, 10.
Okay.
And we might have a couple, rolling in until the event itself. But yeah, it was quite the endeavor to procure the names because a lot of people were not quite sure who you talk to for that. So I learned a lot about that process.
Right.
Yeah.
And this has been done in other communities. It's not anything new that we're doing here in Farmington necessarily or San Juan County, but it happens in other places too.
Yeah. It's not, it doesn't happen widely,
sure.
But I grew up in San Antonio, and so when I was in college, I would go to this type of event in San Antonio. So it's mostly been done in big cities, San Antonio, San Francisco, Orange County area.
Right.
Yeah.
But you want to do it here.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, so it's a passion of, I think a lot of ours, it's a passion to figure out how we can best be compassionate and serve that population, but it's difficult, and oftentimes, unfortunately, in the daily living and over the course of their lives, nothing changes really, but it's at least something we can do to honor them after their passing. And because it's crazy to think about, 10 is a lot really to have pass away in a year without any recognition. That would not happen in church community. It wouldn't happen in a community of friends, a family community.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so by putting attention to this, I guess, you're hoping that the rest of the community maybe becomes more familiar with this problem in our community, and maybe that there are people among us that maybe don't have next of kin or friends and things along that line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely know that loneliness has become basically a chronic disease now, an extreme loneliness, and it's actually as detrimental as heart disease or anything else. And so I think it's highlighting a lot of, we have a lot of what they call deaths of despair, people with drug overdoses, people who are in extreme poverty and aren't taken care of. And so I think it highlights all those issues, and I also think it just amplifies the dignity of these folks. So we'll do, there will be song, there will be reflection, and then, most importantly, there will be a reading of the names with sort of a pause in between each one. So we'll actually read the names and the death dates out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're hoping that more folks will come. This is open to the community.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
We just so happen to have a big space to host it, but it's definitely community-wide. Yeah.
Sure. Well, the First Presbyterian Church is a pretty big space.
It's a huge space.
Right?
Yeah, neighborhood building that's used all the time now, which is great. So,
right.
Yeah.
So we can fill the church, but it's not necessarily a First Presbyterian Church event.
No.
It's a community event.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter, it's non-denominational,
right.
And it's presented and we don't know what maybe religious beliefs these people maybe had or didn't have.
We have no clue. There's so much that we don't know about them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we already have some reps that are coming from governmental agencies, charity agencies, like recovery centers and things like that, as well as different spiritual communities. So,
right.
Yeah.
And we're showing the poster right now for folks who are watching our video interview this morning. And so it says that folks can call you if they have another name they want to add it to your list.
Yeah, if you knew somebody, because sometimes that happens. I've had a couple friendships over time where we're in relationship with these people, and again, the situation might never change, but so it's quite possible that some folks have a friend that's in this situation that has passed away that they would like memorialized that just didn't get that. So
Okay. And that phone number for our radio audience is 505-327-5231.
right.
If I'm reading the screen correctly.
505-327-5231.
Right.
That's the office phone. Yep.
At the church, right? Okay. And you're going to, and as you mentioned, the ceremony is going to be at 5:30 p.m. A week from today, December 10th, at the First Presbyterian Church on Dustin in
Right.
Farmington. But it's really a county-wide, community-wide event. These folks
Yes.
were from all over, and they are
Whole
being
county.
honored in this ceremony tonight.
Yes,
Or
whole
next
county,
week.
yeah, and it's yeah, and so and we'll also have like candlelight vigil, of course, and just it's I think what I've found really inspiring about the whole process of putting this together is how excited people get over it, and as well as you have these people that work day in and day out with these populations that go to work and they're like, okay, so we're doing this job and maybe nobody really cares about it, and we're helping these people that maybe nobody really cares about, and then something like this comes forth and they get super excited that there will be attention drawn to it,
Right.
So.
And hearing about it, to me, though, it brings me kind of a sense of sadness that, that we have these people in our community, and we feel we have a really close-knit community and a friendly community and a very giving community. We all know that. But yet here we are, individuals that pass away and without so much of a second thought by the rest of us. And this
Totally.
is the way to fix that, I guess.
A way to fix that, yeah. And I will say the people of the county, the people that are assigned this task, which, like you said, can be a pretty morose task. They're very small in number, and they're so deeply passionate. That's what's been cool too. Once I was able to get to the right office, which is kind of
Right.
like a
Now that you
Woodward and
found it.
Bernstein level of paper chasing.
Sure.
But by the time I got to the right office, it's like there are these people that take a lot of gingerly care over these folks and these remains, but most of us have no idea what the process is, and so it's kind of you hear about paupers' graves and stuff like that in the past. This is kind of a modern version of that, but we don't. It's not as visible, I guess, as it used to be. Yeah.
Well, and this group of 10 that you mentioned
Yes.
that you found in your research so far, I imagine they're not all elderly.
Probably not. I mean, yeah, and because and we could also assume that the 10 that ended up on the list is certainly not exhaustive of how many people disappear unawares.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, it's certainly known that those who are in poverty die a lot quicker.
Right,
sooner
younger,
than,
yeah.
Either because of exposure or just disease or violence. I mean,
Right.
the list goes on and on. So, I mean, if we're looking at 10 people, we can assume it's much broader than that. And I think the hope for me is that it would be significant enough success that we make this an annual tradition and honor people every year. And maybe over time you even have some more awareness of recording these things,
Right.
these people that pop up. So,
Well, and maybe learning more about their stories, because I imagine
Yeah.
many of these folks at one time perhaps did contribute to society and had
Yeah.
fulfilling lives, and depending on what
Yeah.
happened, they end up like this, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
This
yeah, and
group.
it happens to be, I should also mention that it happens to overlap the day. I mean, I chose December because it's the longest and darkest nights of the year, and it's towards the end of the year. I mean, there's a lot of reasons it makes sense, but
Okay.
so
So
the
that was
other-
by design. You really thought through that of having it in December.
thought through
Okay.
that.
All right.
Come on.
I'm just checking. I don't know if you
Yeah.
weren't busy on a Tuesday and thought let's
Yeah,
throw
exactly. All right,
this thing
what
together.
the heck? Let's just throw this together.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was definitely
Yeah.
intentional to use December. And initially I was thinking the longest time of the year, which is a little bit later in the month. But for various scheduling reasons, it was better to choose this day. But also I chose the 10th because it is International Human Rights Day, which is an annual remembrance of the International Human Rights Declaration passed by the UN. Gosh, now it's almost maybe 50 years at least ago.
Right.
And, basically the summation of that declaration is that no matter what, a human being has inherent dignity and worth and inherent rights. And so it made sense to me that, we always focus on sort of who produces, what do they produce, how do you contribute to society. But really, the bottom line is that if you're human, you matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And we sometimes lose track of that.
We totally lose track of that. I lose track of that all the time. Yeah.
And so this is a great reminder that everybody does matter and contribute, and all human lives are important.
Important. Yeah.
And that's an important thing to remind all of us about, especially at this time of year. I agree with you.
Gosh, yeah.
So there you go. It is the upcoming Memorial for the Unclaimed. a day centered on the dignity of all human beings, next Tuesday, December 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church on North Dustin Avenue in Farmington. And again, it is a way to come together as a community and remember all of those who passed away without any family, next of kin, anyone to really be contacted.
Yeah, that's right. So now we get to be the family, even if it's, after the fact in some ways. We're finding more and more how important it is to honor these sort of lost griefs and lost celebrations. So it's part of a broader effort there.
Very good. Yeah. And again, if folks have another name they want you to add or talk to you about this whole idea, they can give you a call at the church office?
Yes. Yeah. Or pop in. Yeah.
Or pop in. Okay. Yeah. And the number again is 505-327-5231.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. Very good. We'll see more of these, it sounds like to me, right? Every year you want to make this an annual thing.
I would love to make this an annual thing. So right now we're pushing it through the door and we're going to sort of see what happens. But again, there's been some interesting excitement generated on it. And with any of these community-wide things, you have no idea who's going to come out of the woodwork and whose passions are going to be represented.
True.
Stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, and I would think this could be a teachable moment for children in families to come to this, that maybe folks, kids who maybe think they have everything and, are in need of nothing, to come and really get a lesson on how the other folks have lived.
Exactly. And just how, there's so many varying contributing factors. And again, one thing we know, though, a great protective factor is a strong community and a strong social fabric. And we should mention that there's going to be a lot of cool musicians, too, playing.
Right.
So, yeah, we got a cover of Bruce Springsteen coming. I mean, it's getting all sorts of interesting, creative stuff going on. So.
A lot of folks have stepped forward, it sounds like, to contribute to this.
Yeah, I cast a broad net and saw who wanted to jump in, said net, and it's been cool. I've been joking around how it's like a Live Aid thing, like a Farmington Live Aid thing.
Right, a lot of different folks coming together.
Right.
For this event.
Yeah.
So, very good. Well, Reverend Cullip, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it very much, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Week. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
You're very welcome. That's Reverend Megan Cullip, my guest here on KSJE. I'll be back with more in just a moment, everybody.
You buy your dream house and